Well, hello, this is Tony Wade, the Compassionate Investor, and today we are still talking about life's roadmap. Now, last time we were together, we were talking about your passion and your purpose, and we really talked about how you actually create your vision, identify your passion, and assess your career path. Now we're going to align your current position. This is actually what you do right now, and make sure that not only is it what you need to be doing, but analyzing it in a way where you can take from it so that you are on your path. Now let's talk about that path for a bit. So we talked about the vision, and if you can think of a roadmap, it sort of looks like this, right? The goal is that as you look at where you currently are right now, that you are able to figure out where you are on that map, determine how you need to move on that map to keep you doing what? Progressing forward. We all are about progression. We are all about getting us toward what our goals are. So as long as your goals are still your goals, your vision is still your vision, you will be able to move on that path. And that's where we want to stay. So as we go into this next part here, because we're going to take a look currently at your job and currently at what you do and just see where you are. And we're going to do that over the next few segments. And then on the back end, we're going to talk about probably the most powerful thing I can talk about. It's about mindset. So I'm excited about moving us into a space where you are on your roadmap, you know where you're going, and as you're going there, we're going to talk about how you deal with this up here so that as you progress on that, you are moving forward. I'm excited about doing this journey with you, and I thank you for the opportunity to be able to share that with you. So as we talk about analyzing your current position, now this is where you actually are working at right now. And as you think about what you're doing, I don't care if you are an executive at a Fortune 500 company, or if you are a teacher for a school system, or whether you work at a fast food restaurant. There's value in all of those positions, but you are the best person to determine whether or not it is on your path. So taking us back to life's roadmap, this is what you've created. This is what you said, this is my vision of where I'm going, and this is where I want to be. So now we have to figure out where you are currently with your job. And this applies with, for any one of those positions we talked about before. So as you are thinking about your position, you need to ask yourself and answer the question, does this job really bring me enjoyment? Do I really enjoy what I do every day? Do I like going in and doing the things that I do and coming home every day? Does it give me enjoyment? After you think about that, is it just merely a way in which you make money? It's just an income source. Those are questions that you need to be analyzing and thinking about. And is it an asset for you? Because as you think about that, then you need to figure out where you are on that path. Now, before, as we were talking about your path, right? And it's not a straight arrow. It's not a straight line. There's moves back and forth. It's your job to determine where you are on that path. Is your position progressing you forward, or is it actually taking you backwards? Those are things that you need to answer. So I want to encourage you at this point to actually create a list of your pros and cons of what it is that you really enjoy about your current position. And as you list that, you list all of your pros and all of your cons, and step out of yourself and truly think about what is it that you really get from that job. Is it really just paying a bill to make sure you make ends meet? And as you create that, then you will have to weigh if all your pros or your cons outweigh your pros, or your pros outweigh your cons, because based on that answer will dictate what your next steps are. So, and the best way I can think about it is this way. And I'm going to use my examples from my careers that I've had that allowed me to determine what I need to do. Now, those of you who know me know I'm an educator by my core, who I've always been my entire life. I'm an educator, right? So when I taught school, the thing that I had a lot of pros on that list. But I also had a lot of cons. And I'm thinking in my mind where I was 20 years ago, because that was when I was an educator. Wow, that's just so long ago. And as I think about that, I think about the things that were cons for me, because I knew where I was going. At least I had a path at 20 years ago where I wanted to go, and it didn't fully serve me. And so I had to know at that time, even though there was things that I was learning from that experience, I knew at some point I was going to exit that, and I needed to create an action plan to exit that situation. And that's what you're going to have to do, is once you know that you have more cons than pros, create an action plan, an exit strategy. So as you start thinking about creating your exit strategy, it's important that you move from one step to the other. You do not want to get into a space where you leave a position that's paying your bills and have nothing. So you want to be able to transition into an exit strategy, into a position that's replacing where you currently are. Perfect example would be, let's say you're working fast food. You know you don't want to stay in fast food. It's paying some bills, but you have a passion for real estate. So as you are thinking about entry-level positions that you can get into, there are several entry-level positions that you can get into that will get you into that position. And start applying. Start finding ways that you can build up your resume that looks like where you're trying to go, so that as you start positioning yourself for that position and you get that job, you can easily transition from the old job into the new job. Now, I will say this, because the exit strategy is critical, and my goal is that we try to do this as seamlessly as possible, but don't overthink it. Your goal is just to build some skill sets to get you to where you can replace the current income that you have coming in. So over the next section, when we get into talking about how do you actually align your current position when it has some pros, because we were just talking about when it was something we wanted to quickly get out of. Now we're going to shift and go into talking about, we really love what we do, how can we build from there? Because as we start building from there, we can now start adding things. And we spent some time talking about how you actually analyze your position and whether it has got pros and cons, and if it's got cons, clearly creating an exit strategy. This one here is talking about when you've actually working at a position that you've got a lot of pros. You love what you do. You have more pros than cons, because to be honest with you, this is really where you want to be. This is your sweet spot to me before you fully get to a space where you are fully running your own thing. That's just my gut on moving forward. That has been my experience, and I'm going to share a lot of my experience with you in this one because it's my most exciting part to talk about. So as you're looking in your current position, because you love it, right? You love the things that you're learning from it, and you're wanting to grow. One of the things that I want to encourage you to do as you are in this space is to, first of all, write down all the things that you're learning from this experience, because this here is your playground. This is where you're getting all the nuggets to making you who you are. You should see a whole lot of stuff that's going to take you to where you're trying to go, and you actually can progress and keep moving forward while you are still in that career that is someone else's, that you can then shift and make it all your own. Perfect example is when I worked at a Fortune 500 company. I actually loved my job. I loved everything that it offered me, and I actually was there for 10 years. And in that 10-year period, I took advantage of every opportunity I could take advantage of that was going to grow me. So that is the first thing that I'm going to tell you to do while you are in your current job that you love, is take advantage of every opportunity you can to grow, because it's all about personal development. Because at some point you're going to get to where you are, you're going to outgrow this. And that's really what happened to me. I outgrew where I was at, and I was ready, but a little nervous. And I'll tell that story if I have some time later. But long story short, you want to be at a space where you're getting as much knowledge as you can in that current position. I had the opportunity, for example, because I was working in HR, to staff a program. And it was actually in a whole nother state. And it was the most amazing experience because I'd never done it before. They were looking for people to do it. And what did I do? I raised my hand. That's the one thing I'm going to tell you to do. Don't be afraid to volunteer to do stuff, because you need to learn how to be uncomfortable and take that uncomfortable action to get you into that space where you actually are moving forward. So I had the opportunity to staff a program and I killed it. I delivered better than they even expected me to perform. That is an example. I also took every opportunity I could to learn business acumen. So, being at a Fortune 500 company that is like booming, they're doing some things, they have a lot of stuff in place. Every opportunity I was on. So I learned about performance evaluations. I knew how to do compensation. I knew how to do employee engagement. Any opportunity that opened up that I could expand myself in, I did. If they had an executive track or someone talking about leadership, I was on it. I was always volunteering to learn. Why? Because I was about developing myself. I was about getting myself into a space where I was learning business acumen. So imagine here I am now, that's 10 years ago. I look at my business today, I see all aspects of what I learned from that experience happening in my business. I've got an infrastructure because I learned that from this company. I learned how to grow it. I learned how to put things in place, the communication, all the elements that I needed. I learned how to do evaluations. All of those things I built into my business. And had I not had that opportunity for 10 years to learn from such an amazing company, I use that to my benefit. So do that in your situation. You need to learn how to take advantage of the opportunities you have in front of you right now. And don't be afraid to raise your hand. Now, another thing that I did that was amazing, because I loved real estate. So you're going to have to figure out how to take what you already know and build on it with other skill sets. So because I loved real estate and I loved what I did both. So every time, whenever I was done working, I was working my business, learning real estate, understanding how it moved. And I paid to make that happen. You have to sometimes invest in yourself to be able to learn some skills to take you to the next level. So while I was doing all of that, the opportunities I learned about those particular skills allowed me to merge those things together to create what it was that I wanted. Now, as you think about the other things that you need to add to what you currently are doing, the best example I can give you is you need to find an opportunity where you can add to what you're already doing. So you're currently working a job, you're building on those skills, you love all the things that you're learning, you've created an action plan for where you are currently at. Now you're in this area that you love. You guys already know my passion is real estate. So being able to take yourself into a space and learn something new alongside what you're already doing is critical. And the best example I could give you is when I was working with my Fortune 500 company, and after I got off from work, I would then go learn real estate. And it was exciting. I was coming alive because I love real estate, and any opportunity I could get to work under somebody else, if they were doing a rehab, if they were learning something about lease options, if there was an opportunity I could learn about wholesaling under someone else, I took advantage of those opportunities. Why? Because those opportunities allow for you to grow your skills in that area, build acumen around that particular skill set, and then implement that on this side while you're doing this. You lose nothing over here. You're continually growing here and you're growing here. The goal is to continue to grow and develop on the path that you are creating, because this is whose path? It's your path. So as you create that path, you need to make sure you're adding things to it so you continually progress and move forward. And that's what I did in my current situation at that time, was built on working with my Fortune 500 company as I worked it. And we've been spending time talking about life's roadmap. Now, as I said before, this here, out of all that we talked about today, is probably the most critical piece that I need you to get from today. All the other stuff is good, but without mindset, everything else doesn't really even matter as much, because your mindset has to be set properly so that you can achieve the things that you want to achieve, because it's all about your attitude. And in the world that we live in today, attitude, I can say most people tend to lean itself more toward a negative one. And society creates that type of negativity. So when you have to shift this here to where you say, no, I'm going to focus on positivity. I'm going to focus on doing the things that shift my mindset to help me achieve my goals. So it's important that you do the necessary steps to get there. So I'm going to really high level, and I'll just say this too. When you go Google mindset or shifting mindset, you're going to see a slew of things. And that's good. There's a whole lot. I'm going to just share with you the ones that I resonate with, the things that have helped me on my journey get to where I'm going. And it continually helps me. This first one, hands down, is it. And that is MAP. I call it MAP because it's meditation, affirmation, and prayer. I can say in 2013 that really became alive for me because I got fired from my job in 2012. Life was all like this and I needed something to level me out. And that is what leveled me out more than anything else. I had a whole lot of other things, shifting mindset, all that wonderful stuff. But that got me to a state where I fully was committed and I was knuckled down in it because I learned how to meditate. I learned how to do affirmations and I learned how to pray. And I do it diligently every day to the point where we do that diligently, me and my son, every morning, 5 minutes, like we recite that and say it and believe it and know it. And why that's so important? Because it carries you. When there are times when life is hard and you're struggling, but you're doing that thing every day, that lifts you up. Like it takes you to a whole nother space. You could wake up and be like, man, today is just one of them days, but the moment that you get into meditating, aligning yourself with him, getting your spirit right, and being set on what he has you on, speaking what it is that you know that is you and who you are becoming and what he has created you to be. You're doing that stuff diligently, and then you're praying because it's almost like not drinking. You can't go long without drinking. So I stress those things because MAP is everything that rooted me and got me where I am today. Now there's other things that I did that really helped to shift my mindset. Another one is I've always been a believer that it is really 10% what happens to you and 90% how you respond to it. And I take that attitude in everything that I do. And if you think about things that happen to you, many people are like, oh, that thing happened to me and that was bad or that was good. It's neither good or bad. If you say it's neither good or bad, it's how you respond to that thing that happened that dictates a lot. So I really stay focused on making sure that my attitude lines up with where I'm going and how I want to move forward. So I always say it's 10% what happens to me and 90% how I respond. Now, another thing that I do, and this is hard, even down to right here, right now, talking with you, uncomfortable action. Taking uncomfortable action. You guys don't know how hard it is sometimes for me to get in front of this camera sometimes because it's very uncomfortable for me. People think this is natural. It's not natural for me. Everybody has that gut feeling, that thing in your gut. But because I move forward, because I know it's a part of my journey, I do it and I take it. That uncomfortable action. Sometimes taking uncomfortable action, making that one step forward, you keep doing that every day, then you will continue to get on that path of where you want to go. And those are the type of things that I focus on. Now, this last piece here I'll share is the biggest part on top of the other things when I talk about progressing and moving forward. Because your mindset, you can only do so much if you don't have a mindset of personal development. So, and it's a journey. Everybody has different places where you're going to be at as it relates to personal development. You have to get into a mindset of developing yourself. It's physical, it's spiritual, it's mental, it's emotional. All of those things make you up of who you are. So when you have a mindset of personal development in all aspects of your life, you're going to continually move yourself forward on that path. I can say, that, because I'm not an avid reader, but I know that leaders are readers, right? So because I know that leaders are readers, I'm going to do what it takes to make sure that I'm developing in that area. Why? Because I'm a leader. So those are the type of things, as we talk about personal development, everybody has their own journeys that they're on, but you need to get in position to where you are actually doing that and performing and being your personal best in everything that you do. Physical activity. That's one of the things on my thing this year to do, is to become more aware of my personal development as it relates to me physically. So those are things that you must be on a path for, because it's all about shifting your mindset and getting yourself onto that path where you need to be. So I diligently focus on that on a day-to-day basis. Now, this last piece is really about how you protect your mindset. We're going to talk about that more in closing, but the goal in protecting your mindset is getting to a state where you don't allow for other people to dictate what it is that you want. You don't let their negativity feed into your spirit. And typically I like to refer to that as you either have an eagle mindset or a buzzard mindset. Because most eagles soar and they're always positive and they're always about progressing and moving forward. But when you're dealing with buzzards, they're all into the negativity. So when we come back after these messages, we're going to explore that a little more with our closing thoughts. So go ahead and get something else to drink, and we'll be back after these messages. Welcome back. This is Tony Wade, the Compassionate Investor, and I just want to share with you that there are 3 different types of mindsets. You have individuals who are eagles, who soar. They're not alone. They're not lonely, but they are alone in their thoughts a lot of times. And then you've got individuals who are like buzzards and chickens, where they have to rally together and talk about all the stuff from the past and sort of wallow in negativity and sort of just got to have their peer co-signing it. And then you've got that individual who has wings like a turkey but can't fly. They're all show. They look like they can do it, but they're just talking. They're not showing, they're not doing anything. And you need to decide who you are today, because that is going to dictate where you go. Are you an eagle? Are you a buzzard? Or are you a turkey? My hope for you today is that you choose to be an eagle, because eagles soar. Eagles go to a space where most people can't even imagine. Their wingspan is so long that they can be able to soar as high as they want to go. That's who I identify with, and those are the people I rally around, are people who want to do that. So as you think about where you see yourself in the next few months, few years, think about where you want to be, because my goal is that you are successful. And if you want to be successful, you will start shifting your mindset to align with who you are and who you want to become. So come find me. You can find me on TonyTWade.com. You can find me on Facebook. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter, because I have resources on the website for you to come and hear more about this and have an opportunity where you can go and comment about this segment. So thank you so much for your time, because we are here transforming lives so that you can transform the world. So seize the day, and so it is.